Hi, this is Bill Stevens, along with the suave and debonair Steve Matchett, and we once again are at the Apex Collection. We've been here several times before, and it's always a treat because these cars are phenomenal. And Forrest Gump once said, life is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get, and that's kind of how we feel when we come here. However, we do know whatever we see, they are going to be fabulous, including a car you're going to tell us about later that really impressed you.
Yes, in a former life, I used to work for Ferrari restorations in central England, the other side of the pond, and of course that opens a gateway to all the Italian exotica European cars. There's one golden rule of restoration, however, Bill, if it doesn't need touching, don't touch it. And boy, oh boy, do we have the most phenomenal example of originality in an Italian classic we're going to show you later.
Can't wait to see that. Now, these cars, over 35 of them in all, coming to Dana Mecum's 38th Original Spring Classic in Indianapolis on May 9th through the 17th. But right now, let's get to work. Well, Stephen, no trip to the Apex Collection would be complete without seeing a fabulously restored 427 Cobra. And this one right here, where do we begin? First of all, it's been restored, but the originality of the car, that's what really kooks me out. Original engine, original 2 4-barrel carburetor setup, original transmission, original rear end, original body work, original seats in the interior. And the restoration and the presentation of the car is beyond description, isn't it?
You've already touched on there, Bill, all the original componentry on the car. But in terms of restoration, it's what do you do with those components to move the car from here to here. Case in point, the core of the radiator. It left the factory with bare copper. That's what makes the difference.
Oh man, how about the knockoffs on these sunburst wheels? They have a gold tint to them. That's because when these cars left the factory, those knockoffs had a zinc dichromate finish, and a lot of restorers don't even go that far. They did here with this 427 Cobra.
It is an absolutely stunning car, stunning history with great originality and a phenomenal restoration. What more can you ask for?
This is a 1938 Lincoln Zephyr, kind of a star-crossed history. It wasn't built very long. Short shelf life from 1936 to 1942. Yeah, after World War II, they went out of production. They certainly were luxury cars. Well, it's a Lincoln. However, what fascinates you the most about it?
I think two things, Bill. From an engineering perspective, it has a V12 in the car, but when you look at the engine bay for the time, that is a relatively short crankshaft on that V12. Impressive engineering. Also, just the aerodynamics, the airflow around it. We see that this aerodynamic profile, the teardrop profile, is reproduced on the headlights and on the flanks of the car. They put a lot of effort into that. The Chrysler airflow was around that same time period to great fanfare. We really want the car to be aerodynamically efficient. This car has a better CD than that, better coefficient of drag. They worked tirelessly to get the design right, and with that V12, I love the engineering of the car.
Yeah, and this one is a real rock star. How about this? An award winner at the Pebble Beach Concours d'Elegance. Also at the Lincoln Zephyr Owners Club meet, Best of Show. Antique Automobile Club of America, Junior and Senior Awards. Hashtag perfection. I consider myself one of the luckiest men in America, standing next to Steve Matchett and a couple of fabulous Ford GTs. First, this 2021. A few things about this car that make it very special. First of all, it's a one owner with 56 miles on it. Secondly, this paint livery, this commemorates the original Ford GT prototype GT105, and the serial number matches the serial number on that original GT105 prototype. It has that unbelievably powerful V6 engine with the twin turbos at 3.5 liters and 647 horsepower, and the 7-speed automatic with paddle shifters. But Steve, I see that look in your eye. There's something going through your head, isn't it?
There's one thing I know about automotive engineers, Bill, is they can never leave a design alone. And this is what they came up with, the Mark II car. There is a lot more downforce treatment on the front. Look at the apron there and the flicks around the front fender. louvered fenders to get rid of the air and allow it to stick to the track. Not only that, the guys and gals find another 50 horsepower from the engine, but you can't just have horsepower without the downforce. And look at the size of the rear wing that they managed to fit onto the rear landscape of this car. So more power, better brakes, more downforce.
And another family connection, this car influenced the 2022 Heritage Edition, which was the same year that this car was manufactured. Yes. So now, the Ford GT competed at Le Mans in 2016 and won the LMGTE class, but after that, they never scored another victory there. I think we need to take these cars back and have a mulligan.
Up for it.
Our preview of the Apex collection continues with this 1970 Boss 429 Mustang. Couple of things. First of all, one of the very few collectible Mustangs in the whole world that's worth well into six figures that does not have a Shelby connection. Secondly, rarity. Only 13 of these were produced with the Calypso coral paint and a white interior, and only 5 are known to still exist. Wow. But the big story, that's lurking underneath this hood, isn't it, Stephen?
Yeah, what I know about the story of this car, Bill, it is all about the engine. That colossal 429 Ford engine. Ford actually went to a company, Carcraft, specialist company, and said, this is going to be so labor intensive for us to do it. Can you guys handle it? And sure enough, they did. But boy, oh boy, what an engineering challenge it was. Both of the shock towers had to be pulled out to give it some room, and it really just shoehorns itself in there.
Yeah, and it's a broad-shouldered engine, as you can see as well. But the reason they went through all that trouble is to make that engine legal for NASCAR. And they succeeded. 499 of these Boss 429s built in 1970. Also, the drivetrain pretty standard on all of them. Traction lock rear end, 4-speed transmission. When this car gets to Indianapolis in May, the bidding will be fierce. Well, if you don't know what kind of car we're standing next to, you're probably watching the wrong show. Yeah, it's a 1990 Lamborghini Countach, and the first thing people say when you mention that name, I had the poster, as we all did. This is a 1990. This is the last year for the Countach after 17 continuous years of production. We're going to talk a lot about the nuts and bolts of this car, but I got to show you this right here. This is the one feature everybody remembers, these Lambo doors. Not only a revelation on this car, but European exotics that came after this adopted that style as well. Now to the hardware, Steve.
Well, in terms of the engineering of the car, it is, again, another masterclass of beautiful design. The car that was before this, the Miura, had a transverse mounted engine, V12, across the axle. This is a longitudinally mounted V12, which brought the bodywork in a little bit. This is the later edition of that Countach in 1990. So we've done away with the carburetors. We have Bosch K-Jetronic injection system onto the car. At the top of the show, Bill, we talked about the need to do restorations correctly and sometimes not to touch a car at all. This is the classic example of do not touch this car at all. Tell us about the originality.
Well, it's so original that a lot of these cars have had the rear license plate screwed in the back. They drill holes. This one has not had that done. Super low mileage. And, you know, we're going to tell you straight up that this is the closest you'll ever have to getting a brand new 1990 Lamborghini Countach. Yeah.
And so, Bill Stevens, somewhat inevitably, we reach the Corvettes. And on this particular visit to the Apex collection, no less than 6 incredible examples. Now, I know that Corvettes have a very dedicated following, and I also know that you're all over this story, so please share it with us.
Okay, we're going to represent 2 of the Corvette generations here, C1 and C2, and might I also add, the restorations are exceptional. Okay, take a walk with me. That's a 65 convertible back there, solid lifter small block with a 4-speed transmission. This C1 62, first year for the 327. This one in triple black with the auxiliary hardtop. We love those. Oh, but the Snowcrest white 1959 convertible. This is a fuel-injected car, 290 horse, 283, 4-speed, and not only the hardtop, but the soft top, a 2-top car. Next door, how about the combination of options here? 427, the L68 400 horse with factory air conditioning, power glide automatic, factory headrest, and side exhaust. You don't see that combination very much.
Right.
Oh, but this one right here. This here is a crown jewel. Maybe the best 63 split window coupe I've ever seen. The restoration nut and bolt, nothing overlooked. It's got the 340 horse 327, which isn't the fuelie motor, but it's a little carnivore. 4-speed transmission, and look at this silver blue paint. It shines like a diamond. I don't know about you, but I've got Corvette fever. Steve, I wish we could have shown everybody all of the cars from the Apex collection, some 3 dozen that are coming to the next Mecum auction in Indianapolis, but I think the ones that we did show everybody, good indication of the level of excellence we're talking about, right?
I think so, and overall, we've seen some incredible restored cars, and at the top of the show we were teasing the need to not restore some of those cars, and we see in that Countach just an incredible, almost brand new looking car from 1990. Overall, an incredible collection. My final thought has got to be, please, the Apex collection, invite us back again soon.
Oh, indeed. And remember, this is all coming to Dana Mecum's original Spring Classic. That's at the Indiana State Fairgrounds, May 9th through the 17th. And if you can't be there, you can watch it live on ESPN+. I'm going to find a pub and buy you a pint of Guinness.
I like that idea.